Hello and welcome. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're actually going to make something useful, and that's going to be an API client. I think is probably the most correct term. So I don't actually really know what if there's like a proper term, but API client is a term that I've heard. And so an API client is like something like Postman, or what I have on here called Insomnia, where and you can kind of see in this little picture. I don't have one downloaded, so I can't like actually demonstrate it that way. But you can see. Hold on, let me make my cursor bigger. Shit, how do you do a sway message? Like that, yeah, okay. Now I've got a bigger cursor, great. So you basically have a bunch of like queries that you can preload that basically have like a name and some information about how to make an HTTP request. And then you can basically preload a bunch of information and then press send. It'll send it, and then you get a response back from whatever server, or you get some sort of error message if the server isn't up, containing some information. So like in this case, they're sending something to this /entries endpoint, and it returns presumably these entries based on some sort of parameters that are set and some sort of body that is set. And so there's a bunch of these that exist. Postman is one, Insomnia is one. There's several others. Let's see. There's one called Bruno. There's one called Hopscotch. Actually, let's look at Hopscotch. I think that one's. You don't need to have an account or anything to use it. So yeah, this is a good one. If I don't know how well this is gonna show up on stream. This is not a very high contrast AP or UI. Can we do like light mode? Actually, I'd really rather not do that. That's gonna like blind everybody. It's fine. Okay, so you've got this like this URL up here, which is just echo.hopscotch.io. And then you can change the method that you're using to connect to it, and then you send it, and then this is what you get back. So that this is just the JSON response contains this information. And if we look at the headers, you can see it's got a couple of headers. It's got your application JSON. Then you can see the raw. I guess this is the raw response body, and then this is like formatted. It's what I guess. But then like we can also probably send a body, content type JSON, hello, world, like that. And then if we send it, I think this Echo API will probably show it, or JSON, args, data, headers. I mean, you can see it says, probably the content type got set. Or not. Maybe Echo just gives you the headers. I don't know. This is, or do I need to like save this or something? No, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to use this, but this is kind of generally what I'm going for. And so I want to, instead of making this be a UI, which has a couple of big issues. One, you have to use your mouse, which is disgusting. Two, it's not automatic to like save it and have it be like integrated in version control and stuff like that. And then it's also kind of annoying because you have to like it's just kind of painful to deal with a UI, at least in my opinion. But I'm also like a Vim user, so there's all that. But I want to make a CLI, so I want to be able to write into a config file basically all of this information. And then I want to be able to use the CLI and tell it to make this request, probably with some customization of parameters and stuff. There is a notion of like pre-request and post-request scripts. That is something we could integrate. I don't really know how that's going to work, but that is something vaguely interested in doing in the future. We probably won't get to that today though. Okay, so I mentioned the config. The config I want to write in a language called KDL, which is I think it literally stands for KDL document language. But KDL is it's supposed to be pronounced cuddle. I think it says it somewhere. Yeah, whatever. It says it somewhere. So KDL or cuddle, I'll probably use both terms. KDL just is the natural one for me. It looks vaguely like this, but this is a little bit more specifically the structure that I want. This is in their little playground, which just shows you how it gets parsed. But yeah, so this is kind of the general structure. I want to have like a variables section, and I want to have a queries section. The variables are kind of obvious. It's just a bunch of variables. So in this case, we have the base URL and we have the user. And then in each of the strings further down, the base URL, or the, the strings get interpolated with the variable names, or with the variables. So like in this case, this, and that it's not a feature of KDL, we'll have to implement this manually. Also, we can do that, so you can actually see the cursor. So this will expand to be localhost 3000/login, and then this just expands to be the username. And then I want to do a little bit more, or I want to be somewhat thoughtful on how variables come in. So I want to have an order of priority with variables, and I want to have 3, I think, places to read them. So first of all, variables can come from the CLI, which is going to be like var user is Bob. Then they can come from the config, which is what we see up here. Config. And then finally, they can come from the environment. So I want to be able to just have user equals Bob in the environment, and that will automatically like just bring it in. And then that'll kind of, I think, go for in the future, being able to like persist through different calls is gonna come in here somehow, so that we can like chain things, so you can log in and then you can run individual queries as is. But then in this queries section, this is gonna hold just a list of queries. First is the name. So we're going to use the CLI, and then probably just log in. Maybe it'll end up being run or execute or something, but I think CLI login should just work. CLI being replaced with the name of the CLI. And then put, so the method, this is basically just required. We could change this to be, because of how Cuddle works, is method equals that, which just kind of names it. I don't know that really adds anything though, so we'll probably not do that. And then finally you have the URL, and again this is just gonna be interpolated with variables. And then within this like body here, I want to have a couple of things. So I want to be able to say headers, so this guy, and then we could be able to say like content type is application JSON. Although that'll be implied by using the JSON, and probably some other things. I want to have JSON. I want to have body. So you can either use JSON or you can use body. JSON will automatically do like the application JSON kind of thing, and then body can take a string. We can do like something there. There's probably some other things, and we'll get to those. Probably also body can take, actually we could do text. Is this, yeah, you know what? Let's do that. Let's say body is body that, or JSON that. Does that work? No, that does not work. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I think this will work. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. Did we lose music, or is it just quiet? I think it's just quiet because it looks like it still works. Anyways, let's I guess go ahead and start implementing this. So the first thing, so I was going to say the first thing is we should create a little web server, but we do have this. Like this Echo Hopscotch IO does just kind of do what we need at the moment. No, you know what? Let's do, let's create our own little local web server. Nothing terribly complicated. Probably basically the same thing as Echo Hopscotch IO. Just something that we have a little bit more control over. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's do cargo new bin, and what are we gonna call this? This is just the web server, so let's just say like web server. And then we'll do cargo add, what is it, Axum. And then in here, we'll just use, let's actually just use Axum. They've got like a, yeah, this thing. Oh, we also need to add Tokyo. We'll just do full and macros. I don't know if macros is part of full, but there we go. And then we should be able to say cargo R. Okay, now we've got a web server running at 3000. And we get a hello world. I don't know if you can see that, but it says hello world. Also, let's make this a little bit larger. Like that? No, that did not work. I really need to set up a script to automatically do all the things. There we go, that worked. Okay. Yeah, so now we've got a root on slash that just does this. Can I get the requests in here? I think I can. And then I literally just want to do format request. And then this needs to be async. The bound blah 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 is not satisfied. Of course it's not. Let's do root request is request, like that. This is an async function and it returns a string. Does this, and hopefully this will give us a slightly better error message, or it just works great. If we restart this and then we reload, okay, we see what the request is. Let's do a debug format, or a pretty print. So now we get the content. I'm gonna zoom out of that just a little bit. So now we do actually have this, and if we were to curl localhost 3000, we get basically the same thing. And then we see the important information about like the body, the headers. If I were to do JSON, I don't know, hello world, same kind of example we did before. It doesn't work. Oh, because we're doing specifically we're doing get. I don't know if there's a way to do any service. No. I would really like, okay, there isn't any, because I don't care what method you use. Not standard any. Routing any. There. So now we do this. Now you send it, because --JSON within curl will send it as a post request. Body is an unsync box body. Of course it is. Let's do body is request dot body. Or I guess text. No, how do you do I don't know if there's a way to get the body from the request. This is, I guess we could do this. We can say request, and then we can say body is probably just text. Is that a thing? No, I don't remember how to ax them. Let's see. So body. So you can extract a JSON if you have that enabled, but I don't want to use JSON, or I don't want to be specific for JSON. What is the way to just get the text body struct? None of these. So we have a request. But I don't have a T, or I don't know what the T is. What is the default T? T is a body. Thank you for the resub. Fortnite Battle Pass indeed. Create a body that wraps another body. There's a way to, or I guess if it wraps a, what does it wrap? It wraps an HTTP body. Let's see, is there anything for text? There's body text. That's for extract rejection. Oh wait, can I literally just take a string? I think I actually might be able to just do that. Body. Oh wait, this is a format. Let's do body. It's this guy. Does that work? Trait handler is not implemented. God damn it. That would have been too useful. Okay, you know what? We'll come back to the body. Actually, wait a minute. What did the body say? Body said unsync box body. That's not a public type, is it? Yeah. This is really gonna bother me. Yeah, we'll do that. That works. Let's see. This is a. Can I just do this? Does this work? No. Okay. That's fine. Let's do this. We'll say body as request body dot and then we can do into body. This will give us the body, and then we can use request, not request, axum body 2 bytes. And then we can just say, hey, you can only do, I don't know, 1024 bytes. And this is just for testing, so this is fine. And this gives us a result of bytes. We can just unwrap. Again, it's still just for testing. Await. And then this is bytes. And then we can say bytes as slice to slice. How do I get a slice out of this? Great. Or yeah, and then we can do stir from UTF-8 bytes unwrap. And then now we have S. And then we can format and body. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is fine. This is request. Or we can't use request, so this is out and this is body. And cannot find value body because it's called S. Great. Now if we run this, then we get body is just hello world as a string. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got our little echo server, which just kind of gives us some information. Now let's actually do something. So let's do cargo new bin. I want to call this inc, I think. Short for like inquiry or inquire or something. I don't know. It works. Yeah, it's a double body because the first one is the like, hey, I don't really know what this is yet. You got to tell me how to parse this. But yeah, so we're gonna call it inc because we can. So inc, let's cargo add. So what's the core thing? So we need clap. We need ink. What? No, we don't need to depend on ourselves. We're gonna use this KDL crate for KDL. Are there any features in here that we care about? Span, and that's it. Okay, so no. What else do we want? I want request, and honestly, we can do blocking. I don't see any reason to not use blocking here. So let's add these crates. One thing I meant to do before the stream, but I kind of forgot, is I want to, no, your response has body. Oh, it does. You're right. Okay, well, we'll fix that in a moment. I meant to do this before the stream, but I forgot. I'm going to add the KDL syntax highlighting to my Vim. Okay, great. And then if I do config.kdl, then we copy in this guy. Then, wow, look at that. That's a lot of bold. Why are all these bold? This is not great. Whatever. And then actually, I just, out of curiosity, so KDL has this cool feature where if you put a slash and a dash before something, it'll comment it out. But, or comment out like the whole node as they're called. Yeah, but it just doesn't work. Or it doesn't highlight. Oh well. Okay, so we've got this. Let's go fix that. No, this guy. Let's yeah, remove this body. And then let's put this guy into, like, this can go at the very end. We're not even gonna use that for a while. Okay, so cool. Now we're good. No, it still says body twice because I didn't restart it. Yeah, now it just says body. Fantastic. Cool. So now let's actually get started. So first things first, let's go back to main. Let's set up our command line arguments. So let's do a mod CLI. And then we're going to say pub struct CLI. Oop. Ah, what am I doing? Clap. Nope. Derive parser. And we're going to, why are you not giving me use clap parser like that? And then we just need to have a query, which is going to be a string for now. I don't think we really have a better way to do any sort of enforcement of the types here. Yeah, so we're just going to use a string. And then I want to also have vars for variables, I guess. Var, which is a vec of string. And this is going to be, what is it? Clap, arg? No, short, long. It's been a while since I've used clap. LSP never imports parser for me either. Yeah, I find that it has a lot of issues with like derive stuff. It is really weird though, because like if I do the code action on it, it knows that I'm talking about the clap parser. It just doesn't do anything, or it doesn't try to import it. Okay, and then we can do CLI parse do I remember how to do this? Let CLI. Is that all that I need to do? Obviously I need to import that, parse, and that. Great. Cargo R, bars, foo, bar. And that's gonna take a minute to build. Okay, and then I need to it's called var. And then we need the query, so like login in this case. Great. And then let's just debug the CLI to make sure it's parsing correctly. Debug. Like that. Cool. And then I think we can here, let's go to doc, what is happening? Go away. Docs.rss/clap. I would like to see if there's like an environment. I don't really know what I'm looking for. Let's see. Is there a way to do a custom parser? No, not that. Parse a set of arguments into user-defined container. I don't think this is it. I thought there was a way to do like custom parsing. Whatever, it doesn't matter. We can come back to this. It's a hit or miss. 30 always works in my experience with auto import. Yeah, I don't know. I think just attributes in general are kind of funky. Okay, so now let's parse the KDL. I've never used this library, so I don't know what it's like to use. So let's go ahead and open the docs for it. I already have them open because I came prepared. So we can parse into a KDL document. We could use something like Surdy here, but Surdy is a little bit weird. That was a flashbang, sorry. Surdy is a little bit weird because Surdy kind of likes to follow the same structure as JSON. And this doesn't quite do that. Like you see login here has 3 arguments. Like this could effectively be like an array. It's just a little bit weird. So I'm not going to use Surdy. There is a crate that allows you to use Surdy with KDL, but I'm just going to like not. I also want to add a config. It's a path buff here. So we can get the config, and then we're going to say clap short long. Default is going to be, what are we going to call this? inc.kdl. Default value, fine. Great. And then we're going to say CLI dot. Oh, these need to be pub. CLI dot config. We're going to say let config is standard fs read to string. Does KDL document use some sort of, or have like a method of doing some sort of read, so I don't have to read the entire string? Let's see, KDL document. It's got from string. That's what it wants us to use. Does it have anything else? just got parse. That's fine. Okay, so we can just return an IO result here. Great, like that. And then now we've got our config, which we can do like that. Config is a result, so let's hit that. What do you return? Can I see what it is a KDL error. This guy. Actually, you know what? Let's return, instead of an IO result, let's do a result of a boxed in error. From std error. And that needs to be that. And then this can be this. And then maybe we'll bring in some sort of error library in the future, but I don't think it's necessary quite yet. Okay, so now let's do that. No such file or directory. Yes. So let's do our... I wrote it in the wrong spot. Let's move source config KDL to inc.kdl. This guy. And then if we go back to main and we do cargo R on that, then we get our... this is logging the CLI. I want to also log the config. Actually, we don't need to log the CLI at all. Great, look at this. That is a lot of stuff in here. Oh, wow, okay, that is a lot of stuff in here. I guess this is like tokens. Entry format. Okay, yeah, but it preserves format. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let's just, like, I just want to print all of the variables. Config dot get variables. If let sum variables vars is this. Then I want to say vars. How do I get the values? So iter gives you things. So 4 kv in values. Or vars. This is an unknown. Not there. There. Okay, so now we get a KDL entry. V dot value gets a reference to this entry's name if property. Okay, so if let's do debug v name v value, and then we can remove this log there because that's just gonna vomit a bunch of stuff. Okay, so there's nothing apparently. Did I misspell something? No. For v and vars dot iter. Or maybe dot entries? Okay, maybe not. Okay, so vars is definitely a thing. Oh, it doesn't have entries, but it has children. Oh, I see. So entries must be this thing, and then children must be this thing. This thing. So if we do children, then we have v. It has into it, or let's see. Do you have any sort of details on how to iterate this? So we can get prop, that's fine. So children iter yields KDL nodes, which have a name. I thought I had that. No method value. What are you complaining about? No method name. Found for KDL document. What? Iter children. Interesting that there's a distinction there. And then this is going to be... So KDL node has a... It's got entries. Which has... Okay, so we've got... user equals hello. That's going to be a little bit painful to parse, I think, but that it should be fine. So like if I did fn get variable... should just take a config. That's not how you do this. Config. Oh yeah, config doesn't exist. KDL document. And it takes a name. We don't need to write down here. And then I think we'll probably create a config struct just to wrap this, but we'll get to that in a moment. So we're gonna say, yeah, we're gonna say just config dot, and this is gonna be, I guess, an option stir. We probably do want a lifetime here. This is gonna be an if, or I guess let vars is config get variables. Want to make sure we spell that correctly. And then we're gonna say vars dot children do we have to like loop over them? A KDL node's children themselves comprise a valid KDL document. Yes, I think that is a true statement. But it is kind of weird because children like this. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Children, like the children function, method, whatever, returns a document, but the iterator yields nodes. That's, okay, that's a little bit confusing, but I guess it makes sense. So children dot get name dot, so let, I guess this is the variable, and then you can say var dot entries dot get 0 dot name, maybe. This is a KDL identifier dot value. Expected tick a, oh, found stir. Sum. Okay, sure, first, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now maybe if we do get variable over config and we say user, and then we just debug this, this should theoretically work. Okay, it does not. Great. I do wish, oh, actually, wait a minute. There was, if we go back to the KDL documentation, we can do dark mode before we do this. KDL.dev. In the Rust side of things, there is a Surdy style derived macros, which is an interesting, yeah, I know, fuck off. An interesting thing. Just because parsing this all manually by hand is quite painful. Derive knus. How are you supposed to pronounce that? Does it say? It does not say, so we're gonna call it knus. Great. So I think we're gonna want to do this. This is just a little bit less painful, I think, or this will end up being a little bit less painful. But for now, actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and add this. Cargo add knus. Yeah. Great, and then we're gonna say derive knus decode struct config as a variables, which is a variables. Or I guess variables is a hash map from string to string. So how does this work? So this is a vector of top level node. What? So you've got a root that has a path and it's got subroots, which are defined as children with the, oh, I see. Okay. That's fine. I think this might just work. Let's see. So, how do you work? So you say, do this. Ew, it takes a file name? I kind of think we'll do this. Actually, let's do this right now. Boom. What is the latest Anus? 7.6. Great. Yeah, so how do we parse? Do we have to give it a path? Because that's a little bit sad. Grammar. Decodes KDL value as bytes. Okay, fine. We'll do parse for now. That's actually a little bit not great. I guess it's probably fine for now, but whatever. Canus parse. This is gonna be CLI config. And then text is going to be, oh, I see. It just takes the file name. It doesn't actually it doesn't read the file. That's for me at almost certainly. So what do you return? You return an error. What are you complaining about? Oh, because it needs a fucking stir. Let's do base or file name dot unwrap, fine for now. To stir dot unwrap, fine for now. And then config here is a string. Like that. And then we can say let config is that. Great. You go away. Let's add debug there. Let's add debug here. And if we cargo R that guy, then maybe it will just work. That'd be so cool, except it doesn't. Great. Right, you have to unwrap on this error. Or not, I thought you had to do that. How do you expect me to use this? Oh no, you just have to. Can I return a Miet result here over nothing? And then you can do diagnostic like that. Oh, we're still unwrapping. This needs to be a question mark now. There we go. Beautiful. Expected quote found, or found quote expected that. Is that not how you do multi-line strings? That is definitely how you do multi-line strings. Well, that's cool. This KDL parsing library might be broken. Unexpected identifier. Identifiers cannot be used as arguments. I shouldn't have to do this. Yeah, okay, unexpected node queries, that's fine. Unexpected node variables. Does this need to be Knus? What was it? Child? Trait bounds decode for a hash map is not satisfied. Hell yeah. Impl decode, or I guess struct variables holds a hash map from string to string. I really didn't think parsing this would be this difficult. Impl decode for variables. This has an S. Do I know what this S is? You just scroll past it. There's a section in the README about the name, but it's lower. Did I? Oh, Knut has a similar meaning in Danish. Oh, it's Danish. Interesting. The repository is foreground starts with a CLI cuddle. Okay, cool. Great. Down lol. Like that, yeah, okay. The trait bound, source span, blah blah blah. Fuck you. Why are you gonna be actually just painful. That's not gonna expand it, right? Oh wait, do I need to specify that? I do need to specify that. Fuck. Help use traits decode children? Let's see, are you going to be useful? So it's an error span from there. Decode children. Yeah, but how does that work? I thought S needed to be used. Okay, let's keep going. Yeah, S can't... I'm so confused. How are they using S here? Oh, okay, never mind. It's fine. Great. Okay, decode node. Okay, for node and node. Node is something. It's a hash hash map with capacity length. Node here is a spanned node of S. This is gonna get annoying, isn't it? Decode node gives us an unknown. Hell yeah. What is node? What? It gives a something. It gives a self. What is self? Self here is, oh, it's inferred. Okay, this is gonna be a string decode node. Decode. Oh, because we need to decode a scalar, right? Node, do you have anything on you? You do. Okay. Okay. We're getting close. Node name. This is going to be a box stir. Because that's what we get here. No, actually we'll do a string because that's more useful. Okay, node name. And then node arguments first unwrap. We'll figure out how to use the decode error in a moment. Actually, okay, or decode error missing. Span here is, I guess, no. Node name, no, not type name. Node name span. Name dot span. This is getting really nasty. There are a lot of errors on my screen right now. Variable definition required. What is message? Message is a string. Great. And then we can do a question mark. And then now we've got the value. And then we can say result dot push or insert key value. Okay, or does the right thing, right? Yes. But S is a reference here. S needs to be like that. Great. And then this is a inner into string. That's fine. And then value here. What are you? Value is a value. Literal? How do I? I just want a fucking string. Can I do string decode value context? What does decode take? Raw decode. There we go. There we go. Is that it? What is that? That is a string. Okay, what's the issue here? Oh yeah. We need to wrap it. Self result. Fuck. Clone sure. Yeah, that's fine. We'll clone that. I don't mind. I guess the span needs to be cloned. And we can clone that as well. That's fine. Or I guess. What? Cannot move out or dereference. Oh. See, the problem is it dereferences into the inner type. That's not what I want. What is key? So key is a spanned box string. Okay, give me expand node, expand. So I can do map, but I just want to get rid of the fucking span. I don't care about the span. Okay. Can I do string clone and just like deref? Or I guess from box stir into what the fuck? String from. From that isn't it defined? From reference box. I just want to fucking reference the inside thing. Why is this so fucking difficult? As ref dot, I guess deref into the inner. Why are you not working? Dot into dot to string. Give me fucking something. Okay, there we go. And it still doesn't work because it needs decode, not decode. Fuck. How different is this? Actually, what is the decode? Decode node takes the node, which is a spanned node, and takes that. And then this is going to be node dot children. Iter children. Node here is a spanned node. Okay. What is a node? A node has a children, which is another set of nodes. Great. Great. And then you're duplicated, and node len is not a thing. Great. Node children len is a thing. Right, and this needs to be a variables. Okay. Derive. We're almost there. It shouldn't really not be this hard. Okay, it's never read, but if I do this, hell yeah. Okay, that took way longer than it should have done, but we're here. I really hope the rest of them aren't that bad, but that's fine. So let's do struct. Actually, we'll do that here. Struct query. As this. It's gonna have name is a string, and this is going to be an argument. It's gonna have a URL or a method. Is a method. Does this support enums? I would not be surprised if the answer is no. It's got this kind of enum, but that's like a certy untagged enum. We're gonna do a string for now. Can I do a span string? Okay, I think I can do that, but we're gonna hold off on that for a while. That would be nice so that we can give like error messages and specific like indicators as to where things are, but not right now. Okay, so method. What else do we need? So this is the name. This is the method. We need the URL, which is just gonna be another string. That's this guy, and then we're gonna have children, which is just, can I do a node? It holds an S. I really don't want to have to put an S everywhere. Queries is a vector of query. And then this is another child. Okay, this is a bad derive macro. Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work. That's fine. So we're gonna come back. Queries is a vector of query. That doesn't take that anymore. Query doesn't need this. I just want to basically have any value here, and I don't know if there's a way to do that. What is document is just that, so never mind. Yeah, all of this has all of these have the little generic span, or generic for, I guess, the span. Is that what it is? It's a little bit unclear, but yeah, they all need the fucking S. Let's go look at the decode trait. But it's not in there because why would it be in there? Yeah, okay, great. I want to see what it's implemented for. Oh, but this is the macro, never mind. Decode is from there. Where's this defined? Use traits. Oh, it's just, okay, I see, never mind. For box T are, okay, so for like nothing. For node. Fuck. I guess children is just gonna be query data. I don't know. That's a bad thing, I think, or bad name, but that's fine. Children. Struct query config. And this is where we're gonna have other things set, but for now I'm gonna comment everything out. From iterators not implemented for query config. Yeah, so weird things need to happen, I think. So let's look at this. So children. Oh, it's child, not children. Yeah, okay. Not at all confusing. This one is children. I think. So now if we go, are you gonna do anything cool? Additional argument name is required. Maybe it's not an argument? It should be an argument. What is it complaining about? Additional argument name is required. Node starts there. I'm very confused. Or is this a child? um. Maybe we need a little bit of indirection there. And then we can canoes children. Like that. Additional argument URL is required. Yeah, that's why it's there. Fuck. What if you just do this? Child node queries is required. You're literally pointing at it. Shit. This is not going as smoothly as I'd hoped. Children. So you've got version, and then you've got settings, which has... No, I think this should have a vec of query. But that is complaining because additional argument name is required. So it thinks that name has to go here or here. Child node children is required. What? What the fuck are you talking about? This library. Starting to think it might be easier just to manually parse everything. You know what? Fuck it. Let's do that. We can come back to this, but for now, let's not deal. I'm tired of fucking with this. Let's do that. Look at that. Great. And then we can do KDL. What was it? Let config is a KDL document. Is config.parse. And then now we can just debug the config. It's super messy, but then we can still get the variable. Yeah, so getting our variable is broken at the moment. So let's see if we can fix that. So get variable. Actually, let's build that. So we end up with this. So we do end up with a KDL entry. First dot name. So name is not correct. Dot value. As string. Like that. Hell yeah. Okay, that's fantastic. I'm gonna move all of this into... Let's do a mod config. And then in here, let's get rid of all of that garbage. Let's go back here. Let's kill that. I guess we'll keep it. We're just not going to use it. Great. Let's go to config. Let's do a pub struct config. And then in here, we're going to have document. Or I guess we'll just say doc, and this is going to be a KDL document. And then we're going to just do some impl config pub fn get variable. And this is basically going to do the same thing as this. In fact, it is just going to be that. Bam. And then now we can say config pub, well, let's just do a new. So pub fn new doc is a KDL document like that. New config. Great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay. Now, actually, before we move on, let's take like a 5-minute break. And we'll be right back. Okay. Oh, sway. What the fuck? I think that. Okay, yeah. Great. I'm gonna go ahead and kill that too since we're here. Great. So now let us go look at the like parsing a query. So we're gonna have a pub fn. I guess get queries. Get query. Get a single query is all we really need. So it's gonna be tick a. Yeah. No, we don't actually need that. Self name, and this is going to return a query. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do tick a. We don't. What am I saying? We care about how much memory we're using. We're gonna do a pub struct query. And it's gonna have a name, which is a stir. It's gonna have a method, which is a method. We've got requests, so we do actually have method. Yeah. We're gonna have a URL, which is, it needs to be a tick a stir. And then that's gonna be all, I think, for now. Obviously, yeah, you can fuck off. Obviously, we're gonna want to do a little bit more because we're gonna want to have headers and that kind of thing. Oh, the indentation doesn't work properly. That's a little bit annoying. That's fine. Great. Okay, so queries is going to be this. And then we're going to say, in order to do this, we're going to say, or this is going to return an option query. And so we're going to say, look in the queries. And then we're going to say queues.children get name. And this is the node. And then I want to just say query from name queue. Or from node. Yeah. And then we'll say just that. This will return an option. Great. So and then this queue is a reference, right? Yeah. So we'll say impl query. Actually, we're gonna need to be able to name this. And we'll say pub fn from node takes a something and returns a self. It's gonna take a node, which is a KDL node, and it's gonna return an option of itself. Great. Okay, so now, actually, let's go ahead and add debug to this while I'm thinking about it. And I guess clone and copy are also okay. We're gonna say, first of all, oh, I guess method can't be, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna say, first of all, node.get name. No, sorry, we're gonna say node.arguments entries. Returns a reference to this node's entries, arguments, and properties. Yeah, I think that's right. 0? Can I do that? What are you? You are KDL entry name dot value dot as string question mark. And we'll eventually want these to be errors and stuff, but for now we're just gonna use option. So now name is a string. Beautiful. And then we'll do the same thing for method. Method is 1. And then finally URL is that one. So this is URL. Oop, this is URL. This is method. Method URL. Great. So that is close. Method needs to also be method from bytes, I guess. And then this needs to be okay for now. Actually, let's do result. We already have me at. I think we can use me at result. Holy shit. Fuck, now the question mark operators ain't gonna work. That's super annoying. That's fine. We can map E to E value as string. And I guess we can and then. So now this is just an option. Let sum else. Oh no, shit. Actually, we want to do some error handling there. Fuck. Okay. If let sum node entry 0 E is this, then we're gonna do this. Otherwise, we're gonna say met just expected name node, no, expected query name. I think I can just do that. It's got a bail, that's what I want. And then in here we're gonna say e.value.asString if let sum, I don't mind blanked on there, is this, then we're gonna say name, otherwise we're gonna bail again on query name must be a string. Great, so now we parse this. This is now a str. Same thing with method. Actually, let's just use v here. And we'll extract this into a function or something probably in a moment. Query method must be that, sure. Dot as bytes. Is this case sensitive? It is. So let's do to uppercase, which is gonna allocate there, but that's okay. Okay, so now we can get this. Now we can do this. And then can I question mark this? I can into diagnostics this. Oh wait, can't I do that here? Hold on. It's been a while since I've used them yet, but there's an into diagnostics here as well, isn't there? No, maybe there's not. But I could do a map or okay or met expected query name. right? That's something I can do. Value as string. I thought there was like a context equivalent. Oh, there literally is a context. Never mind. Great. Okay, context. Hell yeah, chaining is great. Okay, great. And then this is a URL. And then this is a okay sum self name method URL. Like that. Fan freaking tastic. So this is gonna be the same thing here for name. And then for method, it's gonna be a little bit different because we need from bytes. But I think it'll be fine. So expected query name, expected query method, expected query URL. Query URL must be a string. Query method must be a string. Query name must be a string. And then we need to parse the method. Yeah, so you have to do into diagnostic and then you can do context. Great. Invalid query method. Okay. Name is that expected ticket serve found method. Oh, this is called method. Fantastic. Let's see. Something is wrong down here. Right, this now needs to be a niet result. Which means all of this is going to be annoying. Context. Missing queries field. Children. Context. Missing queries. Children, I guess. I don't know. We can fix these messages in a bit. This is a node. And we can get name. And then this is now an option. So this is going to be QS map query from node. No, that's actually, let's not do that. So if let sum QS is QS or Q, I guess this is already the specific query. Then we're going to say query from node Q. Otherwise, okay, none. Okay, now if we go back to main, we should be able to say config get query. And we're going to say get the query called login. Expected query URL. Great, so that failed. If I go to KDL, it should not have failed. So there's something wrong. And it's complaining about the URL. Because this is supposed to be 1. If I debug name method, are both of those done correctly? Oh, now the query method is failing. So I think I did this incorrectly. I don't think we want to use entries. So name is put. If we go back to the KDL, that is that. So this isn't entries. This is Is there a name? Oh, there is a name. Name.value. Oh, name is, I guess, required anyways. Yeah, so name is that. Okay. Name is login. Great. And I guess we don't really need the name, but it's fine. Method is a 0. Okay. And then that is a 1. Great. Yes. Wonderful. Look at that. Okay. I would argue that that is ultimately much easier than using Canoes. Okay. Great. So now let's actually make a request. For now, we're going to ignore all of this still. And we're literally just going to send a put request to this URL. Let's just, I want to edit the web server a little bit to, can I do that? I don't think so. For wildcard capture, use star wildcard. Okay. Can I do that? Path. Okay, and then now if I curl this guy, path is not gonna work. Oh. Interesting. You know what? It's fine. It works well enough. Basically now we can do /login. Although I think you can do like a fallback service or something, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so now next step that I want to do is to interpolate these variables into the fields. So we'll under main, let's just create a function called interpolate. That is how you spell that, right? Beautiful. Okay, this is gonna take an S. Yeah, this is gonna take a string. And it's gonna take, I need some way to get variables. So I'm gonna say get is just an F. And then this is going to be fn mute. It takes a stir and it returns a stir. Oh, this is parentheses. Yeah. Yeah, that works. And then we're gonna return a string here. Yeah, okay, that sounds good. And then here, what we're gonna do is say, for, arguably there's probably like a library for doing this, but I don't really want to do that. So we're gonna just walk the string. We're gonna say while rest, while not rest is empty, let mute rest is S, and then let mute out is string new. We're gonna say rest.find. Yeah, we're gonna say rest.find a $. because I'm gonna use the $ curly brackets like var name syntax, kind of from bash. We're gonna find, actually, can I find that? No, I'm gonna say find a single $. If let some value, I guess position is this guy. Then we're gonna use that. Otherwise, if we don't find it, we're just gonna break. That means that we're done. And actually that means we can say out dot push stir rest. So first of all, rest is gonna become, yeah, first of all, we're gonna say out push stir. We're gonna say rest up until this position. And this is out, by the way. And then we're gonna say, what are we gonna say? So we're gonna say if so this gives the position of that byte, meaning that this does not include the $. So we're gonna say we're gonna say rest is rest at pause continued, pause +1 continued. I guess this is rest dot split at, but it's actually, that's fine. So rest is now this guy, which means that it's going to be var name. And then I want to say if rest dot chars dot next is equal to a curly bracket, then we're going to do this. Otherwise, actually, no, let's do this. Wait, this is weird. Yeah, let's do, okay, this is fine. We'll do that. Then we'll say no, you know what? Let's sorry, I need to make up my mind, I know, but we're gonna do that. This will point to the this will point to the $. So then we split there. I guess let's change this to be an option. And then let's change this to be a result, that, and string. And then now we're pointing here. We can say var name is rest find this. And actually, let's say let pre is this thing. And then at the very end, we'll say out push pre. Push stir pre. So we're going to find the closing curly bracket. And then we'll say if let sum this, then we're going to do, what are we going to do? We're going to say my mind is not working very well today. That's fine. So this is rest until var name. This is the name of the variable. And then And then what? Yeah, and then we'll look that up, and then we'll say rest is rest at var name +1 and onwards. And then we'll say out push stir pre out push stir get var name. And then this needs to be okay or, and then I want the name of the variable, which is var name toString. Great. And then what are you complaining about? Cannot add integer to string, yet your string. Pause. Okay, that's some funky code. Cannot mutate a mutable variable. That's fine. You don't actually need to be a function mute. But I want you to be able to be a function mute. Great. So, now, time to write a glorious test suite. Config test. Simple. Actually, I guess empty or no vars, and we're gonna say interpolate. This can just be none. This can be like hello world. Okay, let's see. First test. Okay, no variables continues to work. One variable. I guess we should also do that. Great. So that did not work at all. Fantastic. Oh, we pushed pre twice. This needs to be else. Like that. Okay, one variable worked. What about two variables? Foo bar. And we'll just change this to be match n. Foo is some foo. Bar is some bar. This becomes hello foo bar bows. And then everything else is a none. Okay, I'm a little bit surprised that this works. Let's add a test for repeat. Okay, it does just seem to kind of work. That's honestly really surprising. But now if I say config, if I get the query, and we say query.url, let's go make this. Let's context unknown, or I guess let's say query not defined. Like that. And then we'll say URL. We'll say interpolate the URL. Or I guess that's already a reference. And then the function will just be config.getVariable. And then that's it. Okay, a couple of issues. This is private. Yes, I agree. Config does not live long enough. Yeah, that is something I was concerned about. We do need to be a little bit more specific about lifetimes here. I say that these two lifetimes don't matter. Is that necessary? Maybe I can do A here. Config does not live long enough. How long does it need to be living for? The returning this value requires that config is borrowed for static. Why? If I put this up here, are you happy? This is technically not A though. But okay, it works. Great. Debug int like that. Yeah, it's gonna complain about the error. Okay, if we run this, we get the correct fucking URL. Hell yes. Okay, great. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, now I'm gonna move this into like a util. And then under config, we're gonna do query. We're gonna add a function called into request, which is gonna give us a request from request. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just delete all of this. This isn't worth anything. No, okay, that doesn't work then. That's fine. So request from request. Yeah, and then we can say this takes a self, and then we'll say request builder. No, fuck, we need a client. New. And then we can say dot request, which takes a method and a URL, which needs to be interpolated. Variable getter is an F. This is gonna need a lifetime, I think. But probably not this lifetime. This is confusing. No, you know what? We'll come back to this. We'll see if it's necessary. Okay, so we're gonna interpolate from there. This URL with this variable getter. And this is going to return a result of this and or this is going to be a MET result. Expected F to return option string. Yes, I agree. Dot with context or dot into map error s. This is going to be a MET. And this is going to say undefined variable this, which is s, like so. And then we can do a question mark. So now we've got a URL as well. Great. URL. Expected request got request builder. Build. Into diagnostic. Okay, couple of issues. This needs to be cloned. That's boring. And then this. Sure. Great. Now we have this query, which we can actually change to use CLI.query. And then create util. This can go into util. And then here we can say query.toRequest using the variable getter, which is in our case this thing. Okay, yeah, so lifetime here is a little bit funky again. We have to change this to be, can I just do tick A here? I can. I don't think that's technically right, but it's fine for now. Then we can do rec.send. I think I just did, yeah. Okay, let's just have this return a request builder. And then here we can do rec.send. Type has, into diagnostic. Let res is this, and I just want to debug res. Okay, client error connect. Received corrupt message. Received corrupt message of type invalid content type. Let's change this slightly to also just debug the request. Just to see if we are actually getting it to there. Okay, nothing showed up over here. Errors, oh, because it's on HTTPS, which is not correct. It's HTTP. Look at that. Look at that. That's fucking beautiful. If we go to this, then you see it actually went through. So we have now read from the config, sent the request to /login, and done all of that shenanigans. Great. Fantastic. Now I want to just say res.text into diagnostic. Is this, and then we're just going to debug text. Actually, we'll just print the text. Like that. Look at that. Request method put URI as login. all of this stuff. It's so beautiful, and the body is empty. So now let's actually see if we can set the body. I want to just do body text for now. Actually, let's do that. So let's see. When we get the query, and we convert the query from the node, I want to keep this, so we're just gonna say name like that. Let's see what else. So we're gonna say let body. So there's this. How does this one work? Wrap an HTTP body inside of a body. Yeah, sure. This is fine. I think I can just do text here. Yeah, okay. So, let... How do we want to do this? So we need to say node children dot get, or I guess what is this? This is an option. If let some children, because technically this should be valid, I think. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't want it to be. So we're gonna let that be valid. Yeah, that's fine. So body here is going to be pub body is an option body. Yeah, that's fine. So we'll say pub enum body is something. In our case, we'll say text. Or I guess with what we are doing right now, we'll say text. This can be debug and clone. No associated function or constant name text found for struct. What are you complaining about? Oh, I am also importing body. Yeah, okay. You go away as well. Okay, so if we have children, then we're gonna say children get body. If we have a body, then we're gonna say body dot attributes. Oh, it's got an auto format. That's kind of crazy. Okay, whatever. Entry. Text. If let some text. So if we have a text entry, then this is a text value dot as string dot context expected body text to be a string. And then now we can say body is some body text. And actually, I'm okay with making this also have a lifetime. Like that. Expected KDL node. Is it because of that? What is the issue? Oh, body, Yeah, okay, that's fine. I'm kind of hesitant to not that. Yeah, I'm generally hesitant to do this because this is still a somewhat new feature to me, and generally I use MSRV for 185, which doesn't support this let some and, but this is fine. And actually, in this case, we can say else none. Like this, like that. Okay, great. So now we have a body parse. And we should be able to say body. Yeah, okay, so let's say let builder is this guy. Oop, this guy. Let mute builder. And then we're gonna say builder body. If let some body is self body. So if we have a body, then we're gonna say body. That is starting to sound like it's not a word anymore. We're gonna match on the body. Yeah, that's fine. And if we get text, then we're gonna say builder body. Ah, shit. It's a consuming builder, so we have to. That'll be fine. T. We have to allocate here, I think, but that's fine. Okay, so now we are actually giving it a body. Okay, look at that. Holy shit, it actually worked. So if I go back to here and we say, hello world, this is my body. This is a body, sure. Then we get the hello world, this is a body. And then on here, well, on here, we don't actually see what the body is, but yeah, okay, so we're round tripping. That is super, super cool. And with that, let's take another 5-minute break and we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. One thing I just realized is we're not doing the interpolation on this string. So we should probably do that. I think let's modify interpolate instead of returning a result string. Let's just return a me at result. And then do this formatting here. That way we don't have to repeat that everywhere. Yeah, that. I don't remember how well chaining context works. If I say interpolating URL, we go back to the KDL or the cuddle, and then I put a variable that doesn't exist. Interpolating URL and find variable base URL. Great. Beautiful. Okay, now let's also interpolate the body. And in fact, I want to create and under util, I'd like to create a pub struct interpolated. Just holds just a stir. And then this is a implementation on interpolated. Is this thing. And then this tick A doesn't belong here anymore. Yeah, and then that is fine. And then here we can derive, debug, clone, copy, like that. Cannot find value S in scope, right? This is self.0. And then the idea here is that in order to get a string from this structure, you have to call the interpolate method. And that way we can't like accidentally not interpolate something. And then we can say impl from stir for interpolated. And then it's just going to be self value. Yeah, for interpolated tick A. Oop, tick A. Beautiful. And then now under here, interpolated. Oop, sorry about that. Then this is going to be an interpolated tick A. This is going to be an interpolated tick A. This is an interpolated tick A. Like that. And then all of this needs to be into. Or I guess name isn't something that gets interpolated. But URL is an interpolated, or I guess URL into. And then here we can say self.url.interpolate. Like that. And then yeah, interpolate with variable getter like that. And then question mark. Consider mutably borrowing. I can't. Right, because this... Oh, no, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. I was thinking that this had to consume it, but I think this is implemented for a reference to that. Or mutable reference, I guess. Okay, and then that is a little bit of type safety to enforce interpolation. And so now if we go back to our cuddle and we say in the document, I want to say this is hello from user. And it says hello from hello, and the user is that. What I want to do though is if we go back to main, this variable getter needs to be a little bit fancier, and it needs to say CLI.variables.var. This is actually, we're gonna go back to clap now, and I want to see if there is a, not source, this. Yeah, I want to see if there's a, what's the word? If there's a nicer way to do the parsing of the variables, because currently it's just the key equals value strings, and there's probably some nicer ways to do this. Where is the argument parsing? Oh, it's under builder. I see. This guy. Okay, so typed value parser takes a command. And the argument select a value parser implementation from the intended type. Wait a minute, wait a minute. There is a thing in the derive reference that references that. Arg attributes, value parser. Go to auto select an implementation based on the field type using value parser. This guy. Specify the type, so into resettable. Do you have just like an implementation for a function? You don't, because that would require a blanket implementation. Okay, yeah. Okay, no, it can do a function which takes a stir and returns a result. Beautiful. That is exactly what I want. Function in CLI. I want a struct variable which has a name, which is a string, and a value, which is also a string. And then derive, debug, and then we're say impl variable. Parse takes in a stir. And it returns a self. It returns a result of self. What is the error that it needs to return? It is a little unclear. Error. Oh, clap error. I see. Clap error. Okay, so s dot split once on an equal sign if let some name value is this. Sorry, you need parentheses because it's a tuple. Yeah. Then we're gonna do this. Otherwise, clap error. New. Error kind. I guess format. Oh no, not format. Hold on. Wait. Actually, I just had a thought. I wonder, can I do just a hash map here? Does that just work? That'd be really cool. No method value parser exists, so never mind. Great. So how do I create, so wait, is there any utility methods on here? Not really. Okay, clap error kind format. What other, there's a lot of options here. Invalid value. Is there a way to add like a message? There's context. No, that just gets the context. Oh, there's raw. Expected key equals value. Like that. Great. So then this guy is going to be just self name is name to into value is value into. Like that, and it's okay. And then here we can say that this is a vector of variable. And the value parser is variable parse. Does this need to have clone? That seems weird, but okay. Great, so now it's working. Type CLI variable is more private, that's fine. Okay. So now here we're gonna say CLI var find v where v name, which is supposed to be public. Public. V name is n. dot map. This is the variable. Variable is going to become value. Unwrap or else this. Or I guess or else. Expected option string found option. That needs to be that. Great. So now we say hello from hello, which is our hello from config user. So hello from config user, unless we say user is me. Perfect. Okay, so now we can read the username from, or read a variable from the command line. That is kind of perfect. And then theoretically, oh, so this is a bad thought that has just come into my head. Something like, something like this. But god damn it, would be nice. Right, so you can just set the port to 3000, and then it'll just replace it here. That's gonna be a pain in the ass though. Like right now you'll see invalid port number. Really? Hold on, I need to see what this is parsing as. Config. I want to see, I just want to log the variables. Or okay, actually, let's go back to main. Yeah. So let's say let var is this. I just want to debug, or I want to print line. This goes to this. So n and var, and then we can just return var. Oh, so port isn't. What? Invalid port number. Oh, so it's already failed by that point. Interesting. I want to see, where do we get the request? This guy. So I don't want to just debug the URL. Yeah, so it's not expanding that. Why is it not expanding? Oh yeah, it wouldn't expand that. Duh. That's literally what I'm talking about right now. So here's the thing. We need a method of recursively interpolating things. I kind of want interpolate. So I want to have an interpolate inner. And then interpolate is the public one, which just calls interpolate inner. Like that. Yeah, that's fine. And then the inner one needs to have a hash set of strings. And then if expanded contains var name, then we're going to say bail recursive expansion detected in self zero. And then here, we're going to get the variable name. And we're going to say var.x, or I guess we're going to say interpolated over var self dot interpolate inner using the same getter and using the same expanded. This needs to be a mutable reference. And this is going to be expanded. We need to do this before. We're going to say we're expanding var. I don't need to do that. Okay, expected that, and then we're going to do this. Let var is this. I'm going to say var. Not that. That. And then also, this should just return a... Go away. Go away. Cow of tick A stir. Because we don't always need to allocate. Borrow of moved value. Yes, indeed. Great. Cannot mutate immutable variable expanded. Yeah, you don't need to be a mutable reference anymore. And you need to be a mutable. No, not you. You need to be a mutable reference to a hash set. New. And then this is a cow. Tick A stir. Yeah, this test is broken right now, but that's fine. Okay, so if rest find, or if not rest if not self.0.contains $ curly bracket, then we're gonna just return cow borrowed self.0. Return okay. Right, because if we don't have any variables, then we can just skip everything. Okay, and then we take the variable, we interpolate the inner, and then we're gonna push. I guess that's not necessary. Okay, so now, in theory, really, I can do that. This just kind of works. Overflow evaluating the requirement that. Yeah, I guess it keeps adding this mutable. That. Let's change this to be a mutable reference to F. I think that should be fine. But then we don't need this anymore. And then we should just add mute here. Cool. Undefined variable port. Yeah, so I think if I go back to the thing, I think that's because this needs to be wrapped in quotes. Yes. It does. So that's an interesting thing. Where do we do variables? Variables are done in here. Oop. So why are you? What are you? where do we read the variables? Get variables. So it does as string. I want to do known variables is a hash map from string to string. Just to basically just to cache things as we read them. This goes here. And then self dot known variables dot entry. You know what? There's no reason that we can't just parse this ahead of time. Variables is going to be, I guess, parse variables. We don't need to be super lazy about this, I think. And then we'll say function parse variables takes a tick a. Ah, shit. That means we have to end up allocating everything. That's a little bit annoying, but it really doesn't matter. Or no, it doesn't take a self. It takes a KDL document. And it's going to return a... It should really be a result. Yeah, it's going to be a result of what? It's going to be a result of a hash map string to string, like that. And specifically it's a miet result. And then here we're going to say basically this. Vars.children.iter.children. So if variables isn't defined, then we can just be like, hey, we don't know any variables. I think that's fine. Let mute out is a hash map new. And then this is going to be doc. This is that. Okay, and then here, what is v? V is nothing. What is vars? Vars is a KDL node. Children, iter children. This is K. This is out. So this is gonna be out. I mean, we can reserve vars children len. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. What the fuck? Okay. Vars dot children dot okay, that's fine. We'll just let this go for a minute. So iter children, v is a node. So n.name or v.name. Let's call it n. n.name is the identifier. Dot value dot toString. That name is this guy. And then let var or value is n dot what is it? It is the entry. dot context expected var name value variables. Value dot to, so there's as string and there's to string. Does to string, we're gonna try to string. That might always convert it into a string. And then this is just gonna be out dot insert name value. And then now get variable is just gonna use self dot variables dot get name dot as dref as ref. And this is okay. Like so. Beautiful. And actually, do I have like end span here? Yeah, I do actually have the span if I wanted to do slightly more detailed met errors, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, where is it? Main. Main is now freaking the fuck out because of reasons. Closure requires unique access to config. This is probably still mutable reference. Yeah, that is not necessary anymore. Great. Okay, and then config line 94, you are fallible now. So this needs to be a met result this guy. And let's even rename this to parse. Relative URL without a base. Okay, something weird is happening. Oh, I guess maybe the two, so it's the to string, I think, that's not working. This, if I did as string, dot to string, or dot unwrap. To string. Yeah, then it works. And if we go back to our document, yeah, we have this in a string. So I need to basically convert the value into a string. Yeah, so let value is if value dot is dot as string, then we're gonna say value dot, or we're gonna say s dot into, else if let sum v is value dot as integer, then we're gonna say v dot to string. Otherwise, we'll do this. Otherwise, we'll say bail expected variable value to be a string or number, like that. If and else have incompatible types. I agree. Oh, it's because bail isn't in scope. Fantastic. Okay. Now we run this. It works. We are sending to localhost. This doesn't actually show the URL. Or it should. Yeah, this doesn't ever show the full URL. That's interesting. Let's go back to config, to request, and we can just debug the URL. Just to make sure everything is happy. Yeah, okay, so that looks correct. And then if I go back to the document, we can remove this, and it still is correct because now it's formatting the number. Fantastic. Okay. That's really, really cool. I think the last thing we're gonna do for today is first of all, let's remove some of these debugs. What was it? Main. Okay. And then I want to put a print line here. Sending request to this URL. Okay. Cool. So, last thing that I want to do for today is in our KDL, we've got these headers. Yeah, and I just want to parse that. Or rather, I want to add those. So we'll say headers is an option. Yeah, we'll say it's just an option node. No, we're gonna say it's a hash map of string because we're not gonna allow interpolation in the header names, I think, but we are gonna want to do interpolated for the values. And then we'll do headers is gonna be hash map new. So let's say let mute headers is a hash map new. So if we have children and the children has a headers, then we're gonna say node.children. This is gonna basically be the same thing as down here. Actually, it's gonna be identical. What is the name of the header? Like the left part of the header. Yeah, I guess header name. Name and value, I guess. Headers. And I do want to keep integer and float parsing just so that it looks right, I guess. Header value to be a string or a number. Then we take n, take the first entry. this is a, oh, we need the for loop from down here as well. Headers, insert, n.name, and value. This is gonna be node. Like that. Name dot to string. No, I don't even need that. Dot. I thought it has a, oh, value. Like that, and then value here is a string. Is that okay? You know what? I don't want that. And then this needs to be into to get the interpolated status. Into. And then this can be replaced with context. Like that. Fantastic. Now we actually need to apply these headers. So when we convert this into a request, we create the builder, then we apply the body, then we say if let, or I guess for kv in self headers. Then we're gonna say builder is builder.header. That's fine, we can do it one by one. Key is the name, that one should just be fine. Value is going to be v.interpolate using variable getter. Oh, this needs to be fallible. And then you don't have from cow stir, but you probably do have from stir. You do, and that needs to be a mutable reference. Beautiful. Okay, and then now we have content type application JSON. Content length is 13. That was already set, but now we actually have the content type. And then we can say, I don't know, like user name, which is generally not going to be in a header, but it's here. This is a header value. I don't know if these can have spaces in them. User. But this is a header value me. Okay, look at that. That is excellent. I'm very happy with how this is working. Yeah, so that's actually pretty much exactly what I was wanting to get done today. We didn't get to the JSON part of things, but that's okay. What's a... I just want to... like an example header. HTTP header, you. This is from like a server side though. I want like a request header. User agent. Great. I don't think that'll parse. Yeah, but this will, or that will. Fantastic. Okay, excellent. Let's go ahead and get this committed. In fact, I'm not even gonna do any real changes in here. Let's do npx license. I also kind of want to rewrite that little license tool because slow as shit being npm or being JavaScript in general. What year is it? It's 2026. Let's also do a quick readme. Inc. A command line tool for it's a command line API client that allows for saving requests and doing yeah, sure. And then I don't know if KDL is a thing on here, but let's go grab the inc KDL and do this. Port can go at, we'll keep that, why not? User is John. Yeah, I'm sure that works. And then let's say that this is a post. And then I think that that's supposed to work. Actually, let's double check this because I think that was just an issue with the old library with the what was it called? Canoes? Cargo R. Yeah, now it's happy and it is sending the post request. So that's cool. Great. Oh, and then the other thing that I wanted to do here is that, like, you can also just, like, testing wise, you can say var port is 37 and now it'll try to connect on port 37, which obviously isn't a thing, but it or isn't like up, but it works. So this is going to be an example, and then run it with inc login, and then you can say var overwrite variables with override, I guess is probably a better term, variables with var user is someone else, like that. Okay, great. Let's do, there was one more thing I was thinking, but I don't remember what it is, so that's fine. Let's go create a repository. Am I not signed in? Did I do that in a... Okay, I'm not signed in. Okay, I'm gonna hide my screen for a minute and I will sign in. Goddamn 2FA. Okay. Sorry, hold on just 1 second. And we're back. Great. So repository name is inc. Description is whatever we wrote in the README. And then README, blah, 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 blah. Great. Great repository. Copy that. Git remote, add origin, this guy. And then we'll push. Oh, I need to actually create a commit. Init. Fantastic. So this, the repo is right there. And that is going to be all for today. So thank you for coming, and I will see you next time.